Hello, my name is Martin Lowe and I am a professional football player. From a young age, I always loved the ball at my feet, and from that began my professional career in Australia. After being inspired from the under-23 national team and the love and passion of the Vietnamese fans, I decided to come and play in Vietnam, my home country.
I think we can have a really good conversation. So shall we meet our guest?
Yep, in his very first official interview in English in Vietnam ever, let me introduce to you Martin Lowe. Good day, mate.
Hi Michael, how you going?
How are we?
How are you? Have a seat.
Thank you.
Have a seat, buddy.
You have such a good handshake. The grip is just, wow. It's
Yeah.
really
That's
strong.
what I learned from Australia.
That's what you learned in Australia.
Yeah.
Michael just told me that you played for one of his favorite teams in Australia. So I'm going to drop the ball and I'm going to pass the ball on to Michael and let him ask you about soccer.
Right, football you mean? What do you call it?
Football.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's Aussie and he calls it football too.
Well, you can call it football, but not criticize me for calling it soccer.
It's not wrong.
Right, so my favourite team is Western Sydney Wanderers. I found out recently that you actually had a gig over there as well. Why have you decided to give that up and move all the way to Vietnam for the game?
Well, I think over there I did lack opportunity to play. I signed over there when I was 17, when I had my first professional contract. But my biggest motive to come here was watching the national team and seeing football in Vietnam rise, and I really wanted to be a part of that.
Okay, so could you recall your first experience watching the Vietnamese national football team play, and what was it like for you to see that game?
I think it was emotional in a way because I never really knew much about my culture and my people, so watching them and seeing them succeed in SEA Games and in the Asian Cup, watching them do well, it really made me proud of who I am. And I've never really felt that way before, so it was really interesting to me.
So I recently found out too that you put on the Vietnamese national football team shirt on for the first time.
Yeah.
How did it feel? Did it fit?
Of course, it fit really well. It was surreal to me because one of my goals coming here was obviously to be a part of the national team and stuff like that. So I didn't think it would come this quick, but I'm very proud. I remember when I stepped out on the pitch, I was really proud and a bit emotional because I didn't expect it to happen so quickly.
Tell us a little bit about maybe your journey towards the national team for anybody who's young and really passionate about football. How do you get into the national team?
That's a tough question. Well, I think if you want to put it simply, you play well, you put on performances, and if you're consistent, the right people will notice. I think obviously that's with everything in life as well, in any job or work environment.
Do you have a favorite player, a Vietnamese favorite player?
I've been asked that a lot. When I first came here, the player that I knew the most was Quang Hai, and then when I came here, a lot of players were telling me about another player who they thought I would like, and his name is Tuan Anh. He plays a style that I appreciate, which is also similar to my idol, who is Andres Iniesta. I'm not sure if you guys know him.
Of course, yeah, Barcelona. So is that the player that you've modelled yourself after?
Yeah, so growing up, I watched a lot of Barcelona, and after watching them, they kind of suit the person that I am. I'm not very big, and they made the game look easy, even though they weren't physically big. You know, I think all my life I've been small, and everyone's been criticising me for being small, but yeah, I wanted to make an impact still, even though I'm smaller or not like everyone else.
Well, size doesn't always matter, does it?
No.
No, definitely not.
In a lot of things.
Yeah, and I'm small too, and you know, a lot of the times being small, it's kind of difficult for us to kind of maneuver a lot of things. I remember this instance, it was at work and I'm trying to reach up on the shelf and then nobody would help me and I'd have to do it all by myself.
Yeah.
Or I'd go into a meeting and people would be like, you look really young and small. And I'm like, what does that matter? You know?
Yeah.
But for you, you know, being in such a physical environment, I'm sure you've had
Yeah.
to maneuver and really deal with all of these things that
Yeah.
relates to your physical
Yeah, because
your
that's
size.
obviously that's the first thing people see, you know, especially in Australia, it's pretty obvious. The Australian people, they're a lot bigger than me, so that's the first thing they judge me on. So it's difficult, but I've been able to handle that kind of adversity in a way, and work around it to also show my own strengths. And even though that may be a weakness of mine, I've been trying to avoid it as much as I can.
Could you tell us more about, your own style of football? How would you, in 3 words, how would you describe the way you play?
Technique, awareness. I'm not sure. Small.
Well, a lot of flexibility, a lot of skills there,
Yeah.
I can see. You're a Barca fan now, yeah?
I appreciate the way they play.
So do you have a particular team that you go for at all?
I wouldn't say that I support someone particularly or am a big fan, but I've always liked the way Barcelona played. For me, the best to watch.
Get out of here. This is United territory.
I would say, there are a lot of stereotypes, associated with the sports industry. And there's also a lot of distractions, I assume, also associated with the sports industry. How do you keep yourself focused? How are you so grounded?
When I was younger, I didn't have anything, and my parents didn't have anything either. So I was always reminded that we came from nothing, so don't act like you've got everything. I always didn't like the people who were very arrogant and cocky, so I definitely didn't want to be like that. You're never at the top, and if you're at the top, there's someone underneath you trying to get what you have. So that was why I'm the way I am.
So much maturity for someone who's 5 years younger than me. Wow.
Have you gone through really, really difficult challenges in life?
I recently lost someone who was really close to me, probably like a few days ago. That was probably the most confusing time in my life, but comparing to what I just went through with everything else, I wouldn't say all the other problems I had were that big.